Hi everyone and welcome. I am Chaitanya. You're watching Chai with Chaitanya. This is the place where I talk about books, movies, and fandom. And today I'm talking about Shelby Morin's Serpent and Dove, which is the first book in the Serpent and Dove trilogy. And I have a lot of things to say about this book, so let's just get quickly into this video. Please note that this is a non-spoiler review. In this book, we basically meet Lou and Reed. Lou is a witch, whereas Reed is a witch hunter, and both these people and their respective clans have sort of been at each other's throat for centuries. The reason why they are at each other's throat is also something which is very shady, and over the years it has changed and confused. And yet, even in the present day, when we start reading the story, you would see that these people do not sit well with one another. They cannot coexist, and the witch hunters believe that the magic is an evil thing and it needs to be curbed from the society. So their only job is to go find witches and then put them up on a stake or kill them with their belly sandras. I hope that is the right pronunciation of which is the weapons that the witch hunters use to kill the witches. On the other hand, the witches in this story are always constantly in hiding, and the reason why they cannot always perform magic is because the way in which the magic system works in this story is that every single time a witch performs some sort of magic, there is a certain kind of odor that comes out of the byproduct of the magic that they're performing. So they cannot perform magic without actually getting caught. Sort of are not always aware what kind of smell would come by the kind of magic that they're performing. So it's something that they have to be very careful about, and they cannot use magic very sparingly as much as they would want to, because that would mean that they will get caught by the witch hunters. And which is why for witch hunters it's also so easy to track these witches, because of the smell that comes out after performing the magic. Witch hunters in this story follow a man called the Archbishop, who is basically a father figure slash guru to all the witch hunters. And one day it just so happens that Lou and Reed happen to cross paths, and they meet each other in a way in which it is not favorable to either of them. So the Archbishop has to step in, and because his word is final, so he thinks that the only way to save Reed's future is to get Reed to marry Lou. And this is something which neither of these people agree, so they are forced into a marriage unionship, and we just go from there. Now going ahead and talking a little about the writing and world building that is there in this book. So now I personally felt that the writing is very simple, but yet it is very effective. It is very lyrical. The world building in here is done really well in regards to the fact that it's very whimsical, it's very dark, it's very grim, and I did not really expect that this book would be that dark. But again, don't get me wrong, it's not dark in the sense that it's spooky, even though it has a lot of magical elements in it. But there is no magical beast, there are no monsters, there are no things which will haunt you. There are just witches, and there are just magic that these witches perform. And the world that this is set in is probably in France. Now I'm not sure about it, but it definitely has got to do something with French, because there is a lot of French salutations that is used. There are a lot of names that are French. There are also a lot of phrases that are definitely in French, and obviously I do not understand them by default. But the very fact that it was there, and the book heavily was dependent on the France, and it had that whole French influence in it, was a factor that really helped me like this book way more, because I haven't, for that matter, read a book that has French or France or any sort of thing to do with French in fantasy, for that matter. So it definitely was a refreshing change to see. Also, the last thing that I would like to talk about the world building is that it's very atmospheric. I know for a fact that authors like Stephanie Garber and Erin Morgenstern, even recently I happened to read Margaret Rogerson, who is the author of An Enchantment of Ravens. All of these authors have a great style of writing, and all of their books feel very, very atmospheric, and I could find that similar threads of layers even in this book, and it was something that I definitely enjoyed. Now going ahead and talking a little about the characters in this book. So first up we have Reed. Now the way I saw Reed, I thought that he, even though he is 6 foot tall, almost 6 foot 5 inches if I'm not wrong, he's extremely tall, he's extremely broad, well muscled, he looks handsome. So he has all that charms of being that gentleman, being that amazing man that most girls or most people die for. But yet at the same time he's very immature in a lot of ways. He has this way of seeing the world which is completely in black and white, and that is probably not exactly his fault as much as it is because of the way he has been brought up. But yes, the character development and the character arc that is drawn for him is done well. It's not done as amazingly well as it is done for Lou, but I still enjoyed myself quite a lot. Now going ahead and talking a little about Lou, so I felt that Lou's character is very diabolical, in the sense that it's very much like whatever characters that I've read in other fantasies as well. She is bold, she's independent, she's fierce, she can protect herself, and she's all of those things which which you expect people to be. And yet there is a character arc that comes across, and that is what is the most surprising part, because when you meet Lou for the first time, you feel that she's almost she's almost perfect. She's taking care of herself. She is trying to stay hidden. She's trying to do as much as she can. So what exactly is the need? Like, where would she go from here? And that is exactly when Shelby Morin comes in, and she gives you all these layers to her character, and it's one by one, you see the layers coming off, and you get to see what is her insecurity, and what does she feel, and what are her problems, and what are her conflicts, and you just get to see that how she tries to overcome each one of them by the end of this book. And obviously, because this is a part of the trilogy, so I'm assuming that all the loose ends which have not been tied in here are kept for the second and for respectively for the third book as well. So yes, now talking a little about the side characters that are there, Ainsel and Coco, they have great roles to play. Obviously Coco has got a greater role to play than Ainsel, but I think in my way, the way I saw it, I felt that both these people had a respective role to play, which was very important. And I can already see that both these people would become very important and crucial characters in the second book. I have not read the second book, and I know for a fact that the third book is also coming out. So now usually I do not talk about trigger warnings in a fantasy book, because by default a fantasy reader knows what he or she is signing up for. But in here I would like to specifically mention that there is burning and staking, like people being put up on stake and then being burnt. So if you're somebody who is not okay with that idea, or if you're somebody who who just fears blood and gore and action and all of those things, then you have to definitely be careful. Coming to the most important aspect of this book, which is the romance. Now I had gone into this expecting the romance to be of great significance, because the way I saw it, as I said probably earlier as well, that I felt that the romance would be the crux of this story, which it sort of was, but I did not like or enjoy the romance as much as I thought I would. And the problem with the romance was that it was a classic enemies to lovers, but it was not handled very well. And it was not handled very well in the sense that I just felt that the moments which is required for two characters who absolutely hate each other, and specifically in this case when they come from clans who have been at each other's throats to kill one another for centuries, and specifically for Reed, who sees the world in black and white, for him to have this change of heart and change of opinion should have taken a little bit more time. But for some reason that did not happen. And don't get me wrong, the author has tried her best to include as many intimate scenes as possible, at least from what I could gather, but the way they are done, I just felt that they are not enough, and that there is something which is missing. I cannot exactly lay a finger on and say that this is what exactly is missing, but from what I understand, the tension, the sexual tension / the emotional tension, or some sort of tension that is there between two characters when you know that these two characters are interested in one another, I think that was consistently missing. And I was looking for that, and I was trying to grab on that so that I can feel the the emotions for any of them and root for them. But never in the book did I find myself rooting for these two people to get together. And that was actually a sad point, because I had great things in mind for this book, and I thought that this is going to be amazing and perhaps better than all the enemies to lovers that I've read in fantasy. But sadly that was not really the case, and which is why I was very conflicted with my final verdict of this book. So very honestly, I gave it a 3.75 stars, because I felt that it was a little bit more than 3.5 stars, but it was definitely not 4 stars. So I agree that this is a 7.5 stars, but then in the end, the way it ended, and a lot of things happen in the end, different pieces of puzzle come together, and the action is considerably very high, and that made me feel that okay, this can be rounded off to 4, which is why I've given this book a 4 stars out of 5 stars. And I would definitely ask you guys to pick it up if you're somebody who enjoys reading fantasy, if you enjoy reading books that are dark, that have magic, that have enemies to lovers. But again, if you are going in expecting only romance to be the highlight of this book, then I would really not recommend this book so much so. It's definitely not like other enemies to lover fantasy books that you have probably picked up, but then this is worth picking up only because of the fact that the world that Shelby Morin has created is beautiful, it's fascinating, and I found it really easy to get into this book. I found it really easy to follow this book. I found it really easy to get through this book, and I almost read it in 3 days, which is quite fast for me, even though this is relatively average length fantasy book. It's almost around 515 pages, and I know for a fact that the second book, which is Blood and Honey, is already out. I have no plans to read it right now because my TBR is endless, but if you have read it, do leave it in the comments. What do you think about it? And also, what are your opinions on Lou and Reed's relationship? Do you like it? Do you also think that there was something which was missing between them? And if you could figure out what exactly was missing between them, then do let me know. If you did like this content, then do go ahead and give it a thumbs up and drop down your subscriptions, because subscribing would really help. I will be soon back with another video another time, so till then keep watching and bye.